Hello, it's Dominique. Today I wanted to make a quick tutorial. This is my first tutorial. I've never done one before because I'm not equipped with cameras and tripods and everything. And I think they take so long to upload on YouTube that I don't want to do that. But I've been asked for a tutorial on my hinge system that I've created this year, like beginning of this season in November. So I call it Stack and Fold Hinge System. We've seen that on other videos, and someone asked me to teach how to make it, so I'm doing that right now. And also I thought that I would incorporate another element, is how to create a flip album with 2 hinges. Also I will talk about how to make it according to the space you have available on in your binder, and also different cardstocks that I use. I'm going to start with that right now. So I want to show you. First of all, of course, I use chipboard for the covers. There are different types of papers. This one here, I've seen Scrapping Rabbit. She did a tutorial on a kind of binding system that she does. I've been inspired a little bit by that one, but I changed a couple of things to make it my own. She was talking about using watercolor paper. This is watercolor paper, and she folds it so that the pages, like the hinge, is really thick, really like sturdy, because it's a thick paper. But when I score it and I fold it, I don't know if you can see, but the top layer of paper that's there on the paper tears. So I don't know, it didn't tear on this side, but it tore on this side. So this is the first thing I tried, and I said no, it's not working. So I decided to go with cardstock that is the heavyweight from Paper Studio. I really love Paper Studio papers. Okay, if I want to show you just one little thing, Paper Studio cardstock, regular cardstock, you can see, where is it? Right here. It's pretty sturdy. Like, I mean, it's not so soft. You can see I hold it like this. If you check with the coordination cardstock, like, it's really soft. You can see the difference. And this is, I don't know if you can see on this here, premium cardstock. I used to use cardstock coordination from Joanne because they had special and said, oh, they had a lot of colors, I'm gonna buy some. And then I found that it was too soft, so I bought premium cardstock from coordination. It is the exact same thing. It is not sturdier. So I don't know what's premium about them. Maybe that's not what it means, but that's why I wanted to try it and see if it was better. So I decided to stay with Paper Studio. I always buy my cardstock at Hobby Lobby because they have the Paper Studio brands. But what I use for the little hinge system that I'm going to show you, see, this one doesn't fold at all, like barely. This is the heavyweight, and it is perfect. When you fold it, you score it and you fold, it doesn't break or tear the top layer of the paper. It doesn't tear, it just folds really nice and clean. It's perfect. So I highly recommend to use that one. So that's what I'm talking about for the hinge that I'm doing. And also here, because I only had the cream color and I really needed the black. And the other day I was at Joanne and I bought some cardstock at the open stock they have there. It was like 12 or 14 for $2. And I bought this one. Let me show you. If you can see. Anyways, it's called Basil. It's really sturdy. It's very close to the, as you can see, it's almost the same sturdiness as the heavyweight cardstock from the Paper Studio. And they have so many colors, so you don't need to buy like a whole pack of paper just so that you can make a couple of hinges. So I recommend to buy them one by one, can have one or a couple of each color, and then your stash will be full of sturdy cardstock. Okay, now let me get my notes here. I got prepared for that since it was my first one. So now we get to how to make the double spine flip album, which I make a lot. So of course I build the binder with the 2 hinges. Depending on what you want to do. You want to do a big one, you'll leave more hinge here, always less on the second one. So you have a larger one here. If you want to make it smaller, you have a smaller one, depending what kind of project you want to do. So what you do all your binding system. So you have the top cover, the back cover, and this is the middle cover right here. So of course you can do all the back if you want, but I recommend that you do, of course, what's inside, so that you know what space will have available to create your album, because we're talking about creation. And of course this is all the inside, but this part here, we think it's the outside, but it's part of the inside, as you can see. So you have to be careful depending on how much space you've allowed more on the first spine than the second spine. This tells you how much space you have here to make your pages, or to cover with the interactive pages or the interactions that you want to make. So most of the time here I don't do much, because I always have pretty much the same difference between the small and the large, like maybe 1/4 of an inch, 1/2 an inch I should say. So I never do too much here. I keep it for the inside, but here I always have my little file that I like to make with a little booklet here, because I have extra room. Sometimes I use the larger envelope, so I put it the other side and it's just the one file. There's no booklet here. So I do that, and then I do this part here with all the interactive pages that I want to do, everything here. And then I do the center one. And then after I'm done that, then I know what space I have available for the pages. Am I going to do 1 page that's going to be big on each side, like thick on each side with lots of flaps, or 2 pages with not as many flaps? It's your decision. You decide whatever you want to do. Here I decided to make 2 pages. They're not that big. It's a good thing I didn't make them bigger than that, because it's just going in. And what I do all of this before I put my pages, or before I put my hinges, my hinge system in, before I glue it in. Because the thing I do is that I have my pages, I put them here, I close this, I close that, and here I put a different color cardstock in the page. These are pocket pages, so I put a piece of cardstock that you can easily see. I would have put it black, like I would have put that, you wouldn't have seen anything. But here you can see it's just cream. So what I do is where it goes, so that it's really flat and regular and everything, you know what I mean. So what I do is I decide, and I put a little mark inside my on my spine where the pages should be, so that they lay regular like this. They're not like all crooked, because we see that sometimes. Like this one would have been put lower, so it would have been like this, which is not good. You want to have that as flat, as regular, as lined up as possible. So I put that here. I have some fur fabric spine covering, so I cannot make a mark here. But if you have just paper, it's easy. You take just a pencil and you just put a little mark where you want to have your pages. Here, what I did, because I have too much fabric, I pushed them in until I can see my cardstock, the hinge, and then I put a little mark here and here. I don't know if you can see. So this is where I'm going to attach my hinge system. Those 2 little pieces. Looks like nothing, but it makes a big difference on your albums. Okay, so next, what I do, so you see here, I've put 2 little marks with the pencil, and this is where my hinge is going to be put. What you can do is get a ruler if you want, and mark the same on the other side if you want to. Or what you could do is just get some glue and just apply them there. First, I want to tell you what I made here. So this, I used the basil cardstock, which is thick. I cut a band of, well, I put my paper on the scoreboard. I traced the line for, it has to be wider, the one that's going to be glued on here, because you will be stacking them a little bit. This is Scrapping Rabbit. I love her idea about that. So once this is glued on, this is going to be glued on for the second page. You can see. So you want the second one to be larger so that it sticks on the first spine or hinge, and then still some space there, and so you can put more and more and more, whatever you want. You can do as many as you want. You can do 12. I've done 12 once, but it was not that system. But I've done 6 for sure. So what I would suggest to you is, if you already know how thick your pages are going to be, how many pages you're going to do, especially if you just do regular albums, you add, I would say, 1/4 of an inch or 3/8 of an inch more than what is going to be the space between your pages, so that you can glue the one on top. This part here is going to be the part that is floating, so this is going to be bending on each side like this. When you have the page, you turn the pages, and this will allow the pages to lie flat on one another. Okay, so depending on how big your pages are going to, or how thick your pages are going to be, you want to put the space that you want. I would not go over 1/2 an inch, because then it'll be too, your pages might go like this a little bit, and then when you take it up, it'll go back, like the pages will just want to turn down like this, go crooked. So here I've done 3/8 of an inch, and the last part is the part that is going to be, get rid of this, it's going to be holding your page, like your page is going to be glued on to that, so it's going to be inside your pocket page, or if it's not a pocket page, just a regular page. You have to have an opening here, so if you don't want to do pocket page, you can just glue them. And also I recommend to have 2 pieces of cardstock to make your pages, so it's sturdier, unless you want to do just 1 piece and then you use the basil or the heavyweight from Paper Studio. So this is the part that's going to be, that your pages are going to be glued on to. Okay, so that's 3 parts. This looks like a little bit like Kathy Orta's Hinge Plus binding system, but it's not the same thing. This is my invention, and it has nothing to do with it. She has a different way to make it. She does it with regular cardstock, but she does it double, and I do mine just stack. That's why I call them, you stack and stack and stack, and then you fold. I mean, you fold them before, after you score them, you fold, but they fold. So you stack and then they fold. That's why I called it that way. Let me get some glue. I'll be right back. So now that I've found out where my lines and my pages are going to be glued on, so I put some glue here. Also, you notice that I've tapered a little bit here on each side. This is because after we put those, we're going to cover all the spine space in front, between, and at the end of the spine here, so that it looks nicer. So just on the one side here, and I'm going to glue that onto here. Do I have enough light? So it has to go this way here, because now I have fabric. I will have to use fabric tack, and you kind of have to make sure that they will be aligned with your other pages, like it's the same width. Okay, so it has to be so that it's the same here and here. So I want to make sure I'm right, so I'm going to fold them and make sure that I'm straight square. No, Bianca, you're not coming today. Or sit here. Just sit there. Sit. Sit. Okay, good. So this is the one I just put. And then I just make sure that it's nice and straight. And then I put the other one. I have the line right there. It's right here. So I'm going to put that one there. Is it there? Just underneath. It's right here. So the thing is that you kind of need to make a mark because you're covering it. There. This is my second one's going to be right here. So I make sure that I have the right space. This is the 1/2 inch part. Just put glue on it here. And then I align this again. Right there. This is exactly, it is square. I have kind of a square angle in my eye. I'm pretty much always square. Sometimes you might notice a little bit, but not really. I want to check before it's all dried to see if my pages are okay. So this is the top. This is the top. So I just want to see if it's going to be okay there. Can't see much. One here, and the other one is right there. I can't see because it's folding. So what I can do is just put them in. It's always time to remove all of that and rip it out if you want to rip it off. So this is going to go there, and then this is going to go there. And this is going to fold on top of it here. It's hard because it's this way here. This is the way to do it. So you go like this, put them right in there and right in there. You can see that it's exactly the way I want them. This is exactly where I wanted them to be. Because this you don't really need. It's mostly that you want them to really fit where you have them here. And if you can see, they are exactly where I want them to be. It's hard for you to see, but I can feel it. So anyways, that's my my technique. And I'm pretty happy about that thing. When I saw that Kathy Arthur has licensed her Hidden Hinge Plus binding system, I said, okay, I cannot use that system anymore. What am I going to do? So I checked a couple videos and then on YouTube, and then I said, okay, I think I figured exactly what I need to do. So I came up with this. System, and I was pretty excited, and I hope that you can use it. By the way, if anyone wants to use it, you can do it. Of course, I'm not licensing. I'm not patenting anything. If anyone wants to license this, I keep the rights of my invention, which is this, to use it on my albums. Either if I want to sell them, give them away for myself, whatever, I can do whatever I want. So this is my system, and no one can come back on me because I'm using their system, which is the same. So I hope that it's understood. So anyways, I'll be coming back. Let me check if I have more things that I wanted to yeah, that's it. So I'm gonna come back with the 2 projects that I made, because I used maybe I would say 2/3 at the most of a pack of maybe half of a big 12 by 12 pack of paper, which is Magnolia Way, and I made 2 albums. This one is smaller. I wanted to make a small one, and then I ended up doing it too big, because people want smaller ones, so they don't cost too much. So I made this one. This is going to be a little less expensive, but it looks really nice, as you can see. But I'm not finished. I have still to do this and then do my pages and everything. So we'll see you soon, because I want to share with you those projects. So until then, bye bye. See you. Have a good day. Happy scrapping.